G'day, Filth. It's your third favourite co-host, Ben Vanel here, checking in to let you know we have a listener survey going on at the moment. If you head to filthycasuals.com.au, you can find the survey in the first or second post there. It has questions about where you'd like to see us tour and other things that would be really helpful for us to know. So fill that out. And while you're there, check out the merch, check out the Bandcamp premium episodes, the Patreon, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyway, enjoy the episode.
Good morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by three very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Dasilo. With me, as always...
Hey, Tommy! It's Ben Vanel here. We're once again sharing the corner of a table, huddled together around the warm glow of your laptop. And why is that, you might ask? Well... I'll tell you the answer.
I don't need to ask. I know the answer, but please, humour me.
No, I won't bother then.
Oh, fuck. All right. Adam, are you there?
Good morning. Literally good morning video games from me.
Oh.
It's 9:05 a.m. over here in Edinburgh, Scotland.
It's 6:05 p.m. here in Melbourne, Australia.
Yep, that's right. It's a toasty 12 degrees Celsius here.
If it's only 12 hours ahead, how come it took the First Fleet like 6 months to get there? Tell me that. Yeah, I've rumbled them.
You've really rumbled us.
Yeah,
but
wow.
Since we're asking questions, it's called global warming, and yet they're talking about things getting colder as well. Now, I don't know. This doesn't add up if you ask me.
I think if you consider that the world is flat, which I do, it answers a few of your questions. I've actually got a pamphlet you might like to read after the show or during the show.
Adam, are you there? We can't hear you laughing, and this is good shit we're doing right now.
It's a very strange feeling.
Yeah. I've put a laugh filter on my Skype, so if I laugh, you won't hear it. Sorry about that, but yeah, I'm cacking my dax.
Oh, great.
That's good to know.
Awesome.
Well, if you're not going to actually laugh, if you can just, express to us, if you can just say the phrase that you just said, I'm cacking my dax. Anytime you're faintly amused by something we say, that'd help us out a lot.
Yeah.
Chuckle City, Tommy. Absolutely
Great.
Chuckle City.
Loving it. How are you feeling over there? You've been there for a week. Someone in our Facebook group suggested that we should give you a week off because on your other podcast you sound extremely jet lagged.
Well, I have been jet lagged, but also we've been recording that podcast at like 8 p.m. and that's at exactly the time when I've been like coming out of like a nap I've been having to have here.
Right.
So you're actually rested. You're not tired at all.
Kind of rested, but like recording a podcast immediately as you wake up, you end up sounding a little grumpy on it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's sort of like how we often record these right after I've like driven through peak hour traffic.
Oh yeah,
and I'm always grumpy. That's why I'm the way I am. If the listeners are wondering.
Oh God, now you say this explains so much.
Traffic's like I haven't driven for a few years, but traffic never used to make me mad for some reason. It always felt like it was like extra, like bonus alone time.
I mean, it is that, but if you drive home from work to get more alone time, then the traffic is frustrating because you're like, I just want to be at home.
Yeah,
but there's nothing you can do about traffic. Is the thing.
That's the frustrating thing.
Yeah, but the things in life that you can't change, man, you just got to let them slide. That's why I don't brush my teeth.
I'll tell you what you can do about traffic if you're not enjoying it. This was a situation I found myself in this morning.
Get out and yell at someone? Is that...
Driving back along Flinders Street in Melbourne from Port Melbourne.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the equivalent of that over in Edinburgh, Adam, for our UK listeners?
Oh, yeah. What's
Flinders
the worst
Street?
street to be stuck on?
Fuck, man. I don't know road names, but probably... Newtown, somewhere in Newtown. There's like a tram in Newtown that seems to annoy people.
Okay. And that works for Sydney as well.
Yeah.
So that's beautifully done.
I was just banked up in traffic, taking me forever to just crawl my way down that street. Mm-hmm. So,
and you live on that street, basically.
I basically live on that street. Yeah, I'm so close yet so far.
Yeah.
So I get the old telephone out.
Yep.
Do a bit of scrolling through social media.
Sure. Good
All
way
of
to
a
kill
sudden,
time.
a little bit of a rat-a-tat-tat on my window.
Oh, I think I see where this is going.
Who do you think that was? The Boys in Blue.
Oh, okay. I was going
now look,
different avenue.
To be fair, Tommy, I'm enjoying this story, but let me tell how this story sounds to me. So I thought I could get away with this murder. I knew it was a crime, but I was thinking that no one would find out in this remote cabin that I'd murdered someone.
Yeah, there's no disagreement. Like, I'm just describing what happened. I haven't put in my own personal spin yet. Yes. I'm completely on their side. Yep. I was in the wrong.
Yep.
Cop on a bike. Mm-hmm. Now that's very...
It's very cheeky, isn't it?
It's very cheeky.
It's very sneaky as well.
It's very... It really... It's I don't know, there's something about... It's very undignified.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting a ticket in your car from a cop on a bike.
Yeah.
And, little old fine coming my way.
Ooh.
For...
It's not small either.
No, and it's points too.
Oh, yep. Really?
Yep.
You get like 3 demerits for that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I will say... And I know that you absolutely should. And this is, completely the wrong attitude to have. I got one of these fines before maybe 6 years ago. And it cooled me off for maybe a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then I was just back in full flight.
Now,
And since then, I haven't been busted until today. So really, when you average it out, the fee that I've paid per usage of my phone in the car is pretty small.
Yes. That's the attitude I take to public transport fines.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that public transport should be free in the metropolitan area.
Yeah.
So
or it should be it should be state funded.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it is here.
Yes, completely. But stealing public transport hurts no one. Being on your phone in the car.
Oh, and again, I'm not. It's absolutely one of the worst things you can do. Yeah. I am definitely in the wrong, but. The minute you hear that sound of knuckle hitting glass, you know that the jig is up.
Yep.
It's so... And then I get the thing from the cop where he's like, so, what were you doing on the phone?
Oh.
And it's like, is there any reason I can... Why ask that? Is there any reason
I was reporting a crime.
I thought of a funny tweet.
I can tell you, officer, I was Googling, do policemen in shorts have any authority?
Yeah. I had thought of a ripper tweet, and I was just busting to get it out, and then now I can't send it. I'm too ashamed.
Just leave it sitting in drafts.
Yeah.
I was just about to go onto your Twitter page to see if I could guess the ripper tweet that you put out, but it makes sense that there won't be one there.
Yeah. It was going to be a list of the most common interactions that you have online with people that are fans of your work. Oh. So it was like... being tagged in the comments of an article that very vaguely relates to something that you've talked about once.
Yep.
Being tagged in the comments of a photo of some fuck ugly person with the text, "Is this you?"
Yes.
A friend request from a stranger after you've liked a comment of theirs in passing, some inconsequential thing.
Yep.
And then a fourth one. That's what I was trying to work out while I was stuck in traffic. What do you guys think?
Replying to that tweet saying, relatable, Tommy.
Getting a fine for the content. The content that the police tried to shut down.
Yeah. The fourth one is just all cops are dogs.
What if that's really what it was? It was like he was riding alongside me, and he saw in my window, and he saw what I was typing out, and he went, we got to shut this one down.
That's so unfunny, it's criminal.
Not what I was going for, Ben.
Okay, sure. I took a different angle.
But how are you going over there, Adam?
Yeah, good. I climbed up Arthur's seat yesterday.
Oh, yeah? Did he mind?
No, he loved it. He said,
that's good shit. We should be over there.
That's cool, though. It has a beautiful view up there, doesn't it?
It's fucking incredible. It is one of the coolest things. Man, Scotland is beautiful. The fucking land here, you can see why these guys fought so hard for it and then eventually lost to the English. But like it is
one of the many shames of my life. When I went to the Edinburgh Fringe, I did not go up Arthur's seat.
Yeah, you fucked up.
I know, I fucked up.
I didn't go last year, to be fair, but this year I took the time. I went up there. Fuck, it's slippery and scary. At points because it like started raining a bit when I was up there, and so on the way down it's a lot of rocks. Like there's no barriers, there's no ropes or fences. It's just a big mountain near the city. and they're like, yeah, climb it if you dare.
I love that.
It's fucking rad.
One thing I did do while I was in Edinburgh was I saw a performance at the Edinburgh Castle of, in my opinion,
Yes.
the best stand-up who's ever done it, Ricky Gervais.
At the castle.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was he at the castle?
They had like
he's the clown prince of comedy.
yeah, they had a big kind of thing set up, I think, on the like just out the front.
Yeah,
the
right.
They've
castle
got like
was
a
behind.
sort of a stadium seating set up there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where it was, Adam.
Yeah, but why? I don't know.
Did you guys see his tweet from today?
No?
The Ricky Gervais tweet? I saw it today. It may have been from earlier, but he tweeted, I've checked my balls more than I've checked my privilege. Which is nonsensical and enraging.
Now that's car worthy. That's
Yes.
one that
Yeah.
you'd happily cop the demerit points for that one.
Yes.
In peak
I think
hour.
that cunt can't drive. Anyway,
He can't write either.
I just wanted to say I slipped over on the way back down from Arthur's seat.
Yes.
Fell on my butt, and now my fingers are acting weird.
Oh, wow.
So wait, you
Couple of
think
my
there's
fingers on my right hand.
There's some nerve damage that's going from the arse to the fingers.
Well, it was the
Usually
arse
for you,
and
it's
the
the
hand.
it's the fingers to the arse. But
Yeah, I have my fingers in the two in the stink position at the time,
right, that explains a lot.
so they got squished.
right, just digiting yourself over the view, going, "Oh, this is beautiful."
Only one way this could be more enjoyable.
Bit of news this week.
Yes.
Bit of controversy this week.
Yes.
In the world of gaming.
Well, which one are you going to be talking about?
Well, you'll find out.
Okay,
We're on mic. This is the show.
He's about to say it, presumably.
I
Well, where
think
should we start?
because of the bit of levity, I thought you were going to be talking about another thing, and I was like, that's not the way to introduce it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
no.
right. I feel like we should talk about that first, to be honest. Just
Okay.
like really, really quickly, just say it's fucking insane and like huge, I don't know what the word is because I don't want to use the term like thoughts or anything because it seems so limp. But anyone affected by all the shit over there, indirectly or directly, it's horrific. And the fact that
Talk about the El Paso stuff.
yeah, and the multiple others that are going
Honestly,
on.
the fact that
Yeah.
you hadn't specifically said what it was did seem like the format to a joke where you,
Yes.
you were really building up to then go,
No.
the photo of my little penis that I put on the internet.
The Ricky Gervais tweet, blah, 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 but
Yeah.
nah, the like real shit that keeps happening. And the reason I was being non-specific is because there's so much of it and it's so difficult to keep track
Right.
of at this
Yeah,
point that
you're right.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure exactly how to say it. But the fact that the only reason I'm bringing it up is because like as a scapegoat, they're bringing video games into it again in like the rotating fucking spin the wheel of what should we blame it on other than directly fucking ourselves. Again, insane behavior from people in power over there, and it's repulsive, and I feel so sorry for anybody who has to be victim to that.
Yeah, completely echo that. The fear mongering, obviously, like it feels silly to have to defend video games when there's also like, and they're blaming mental illness rather than just the lack of gun control. But yeah, it's just extremely sad, and they've got to ban assault weapons.
So the dipshits like fucking Tucker Carlson saying like, it's all a conspiracy that they're saying to divide us to blame it on fake things like gun control. It's you partly for one thing. It's people like him. It's absolutely the sort of bullshit that people like Trump spout because
Yeah.
their party
And then the
puts him up
info-
to it as well.
The InfoWars guy, what's his name?
Alex Jones.
Jones?
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
all of those insane
he's
people.
pretty much out of the picture now in a lot of ways, and it's still fucking mental over there. The
Yeah.
people who were on the, in quotes, legitimate, cable channels like Fox News and shit have taken up that mantle of over the top fuckwit, and the whole. I hope that you guys over there can sort this out because there's legit such a weird problem going on there at the moment with how fucking not even divided but like actively vitriolic a lot of people are there.
And hateful,
completely destructive and hateful. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, just I know we don't live there, but I feel like in Australia, at least, we get a lot of American media, so it does feel like, our bigger brother or whatever, and it just sucks. It's fucking heartbreaking, the shit that people have to live with over there.
Well, for us, our listenership is majority American, so it's almost the reverse. We're speaking to more Americans than speak to us, and it's obviously extremely sad, and I guess all we can do is try to make people laugh and have a good time and deal with it that way.
Did you guys see? Sorry.
I was just going to say, the gun thing's too far gone. I don't know how it is that gun control gets sorted over there, because coming from a country where we're lucky enough that people did voluntarily accept those kind of laws, it works, for one thing, but B, we have a different culture around that sort of stuff. And I understand people who, don't necessarily agree that that's the answer or whatever. Personally, I think it's definitely an answer and an effective one, but whatever the issue is with that, definitively video games have fucking nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's repulsive to try and shift the blame like that knowingly.
Yeah. Did you see Reggie Fils-Aimé, ex-Nintendo US president, tweeted a thing about video games being dragged into it? And it's just like two bar graphs side by side of like gun massacre deaths by country versus video game usage by country, and it's just like just him going in and sending something like that as one of the first big things post leaving this company, where I imagine he wouldn't have. Well, he didn't get onto social media until he left Nintendo.
Yes,
so like. There is something pretty funny about that, about him just cracking the knuckles and going, finally I can weigh in.
Yeah, but it's good. It's like, it's encouraging that someone of that position, or, who was in that position, is like, I'm going to use this platform that I have, which is extremely large, to say something that is factual.
Yeah. And the benefit of having a big audience because of a previous job.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Don't let them manipulate the conversation like that. It's such simple fucking shit that they do, but it works for whatever reason of shifting that blame like that. It's a childish tactic, and it's so beyond childish to the point of being like evil when you have that much power and that much sway over that national conversation, to knowingly manipulate it like that is and utterly pointless and self-serving. There's no sense of wanting to fix it from these people. So, whatever, keep playing video games. Obviously, they don't affect people like that. It's just not a worthwhile conversation to even have, I don't think, because it's been had time and time again, and it's so evident that it's nothing to do with stuff like that. It affects people's behaviors negatively. Addiction is a real thing to it, and using it to supplement to cover over any negative parts of your life. That happens, but I don't think it contributes to violent tendencies in the way that they're suggesting.
No, not at all. Like, the only reason that mass murders happen is because of access to automatic or semi-automatic weapons. Like, that's literally the only reason that it happens.
Yeah.
Or at least it's exactly. It's
the only way it can. I mean,
even if games were responsible for spurring on that impulse, if that person can't get their hands on the stuff, well, then there's no.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And also games just aren't responsible for it. If someone has sort of whatever going on with them mentally that causes something like that to be an influence to them, I would say that is such aberrant behavior that it can't be said to be video games. And the idea that they would take that blanket ban ideology, like the fact that they're having that conversation about like, are video games okay? Should we fucking cut back on them? As it's literally the same conversation they should be having about guns.
Yes,
Like
exactly,
it comes across as they're trying to sort of satiate people's need to have that conversation. If we got to ban something, something's wrong, we've got to take it away, and just shifting it slightly to, not even slightly, massively to another thing. It's just bizarre to me that it works.
It's such a disgusting tactic as well, because like you mentioned, they will divert from gun control to video games. But I saw someone very smartly tweet, like, watch Trump do a typo, or watch him tweet 7 times about something on TV to make people think he's a fool, and just, again, distract. It'll become the new thing in the news cycle. And yeah, it's happening. It's so gross to see.
Just how, I mean, and not unaffecting but commonplace this has become is confusing and scary, and like, honestly, part of it, probably there's people who aren't getting support in whatever way. I mean, it's hard to say that about people who have written, fucking racist manifestos and shit, but if it is an absurd level of empathy that it takes to try and bring these people back from whatever place there is, then maybe that's worth doing. I have no fucking idea, but I don't know. On the off chance that anyone feels like that who listens to us, no point. Don't do it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I just felt like we should talk about that.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean that's the kind of fired up opinions you can get from pre-nap Adam that the listeners of 25 Days aren't privy to.
Yeah,
I'm actually currently asleep right now. This is all sleep talk. I do talk in my sleep.
Paralysis podcasting.
You certainly snore in your sleep. I'll tell you that much.
That's me talking. That's I know how to speak
very
loudly.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on, the controversy that I was actually getting to, there has been a few different stories during the week. EVO was on over the weekend. Which Evo, which isn't something that any of us are especially into, but it does filter into enough gaming news channels that it's kind of pretty hard if you're into that kind of stuff to not know that it's on. I did kind of say to myself that I was going to spend a bit of time sitting down and watching some of it, but that hasn't happened.
If you don't know what it is as well, it's like a big fighting game tournament. Did you say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry.
You dumbass.
I think Smash Brothers was like the most watched one of it, and I believe the guy who won playing as Joker, which is pretty interesting for a character that hasn't been in the game for that long, for someone to get that good at it. So what did they do? Evo themselves, because sometimes they, at that event, that's where they'll announce like new characters for things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So going into it, people were like, oh, I wonder if this is where they'll announce another Smash fighter that's coming up or whatever it is. They put together a trailer for Tekken 7 that had Snake in it. And then people, I think, quite fairly went, oh, cool, Snake's going to be in Tekken.
Yes.
And then they went, oh, no, April Fools, this was just a little gag. And people got very, very upset by that.
Yeah.
The fact that it was like
punked by Evo.
Yeah.
August the 5th or something, that might have had a part to do with it. And people do take that shit seriously. There was a leak of Street Fighter V new characters like a couple of weeks before it, or even just a couple of days. GameSpot published an article early. It was something like that. It might not have been GameSpot, and it might not have been that. But people got legitimately angry about it.
I'm legitimately angry at how vague that was.
Something happened, and people reacted. That's the news.
They got angry about the fact that it had leaked.
Yeah, because it's like meant to be this
looking...
big surprise at the end of the weekend sort of thing. So people got pretty mad about that.
Yeah, right.
Which is silly.
Yeah, but also that is pretty rare that you see the consumers of these things getting mad about leaks. Usually people are like pretty happy to spread it around. I mean, I personally, when it's in the lead up to E3 or whatever, I kind of do prefer sitting and seeing it also. If I happen to see something, I'm a bit bummed out. But
Agreed.
For the fans to be that angry about it is pretty unique, I guess.
Well, because maybe it was even like Evo themselves or Capcom or something published something early, so they like ruined themselves. I wish I could remember exactly how it happened, but yeah.
Right. So then there was a tweet today from
the old voice actor?
David Hayter.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is this?
Writer
fucking
of
thing you sent us, Ben.
It's in our chat.
X-Men 2000 script.
Yep.
Where is it? Anyway, him tweeting at Evo basically going,
Evo.
there we go.
You also failed to consult me or Konami. Please do not use my voice to promote other games. Ever. DH. Your name's at the top, mate. You don't have to put
Sign
your
off is pretty
initials.
wonderful. Yeah.
Maybe he was saying dickhead because I feel like that's a bit strong to...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, is he... it's just like a little fun joke to use someone like...
Well, so he's quote tweeted the one from Evo that's saying it was just a little joke. So yeah.
They've already copped to it. It's like no need to lay it on. But also, I don't think it's an unfair point. Like, they definitely, well, you know, whether they're like legally allowed to use it or not, probably still worth hitting them up to say, hey, just letting you know we're going to do this. Would that be cool? If for no other reason, then probably there was a fair chance that they would have gone, hey, that's maybe a pretty bad idea because people will then think that this is a legitimate thing and might get very angry at you.
And they're like, yeah, that's the point. We want to fool them.
We're twisted.
Well, so David Hayter, correct me if I'm wrong, Knox, he's no longer the voice of Snake?
No, he was replaced by Kiefer Sutherland in the last one.
So I think there's probably a fair element of, hey, maybe don't bring up the fact that I'm not in this really well-paid job anymore by posting an old thing from when I was.
Right.
Like,
Well,
that's kind of shitty in that regard.
He's been pretty happy to do the Snake voice on like... I don't know if he's on like Cameo, but those sorts of websites, and like he'll send people birthday messages being like,
well, he probably has
I
to.
snuck into your birthday.
Like he doesn't have a job anymore. Well, I'm assuming he has other voice work, but that's like a fucking blockbuster gig to get pumped
Well, it
from.
was, but he lost it around the time Metal Gear sort of started going down the toilet anyway. So, you know, maybe it's not that big of a split. I think it's more just like... I don't know, because you're right that it would be polite to ask, but also for a parody sort of thing, you don't need to. That's fair use.
Well,
you're right.
This interestingly ties into something I saw during the week that people have been making memes about Fire Emblem Three Houses, the character of Seteth.
Yes.
People have become pretty into like making sort of doctoring up little screenshots of him sending you on these kind of ridiculous quests because he's kind of a bit of a dick to your main character in the game. So people have been doing up these things of like, hey, I'm trapped in a McDonald's playground. I need you to come and get me out. Right.
Yeah.
So those sorts of things have been circulating. The guy who does the English voice of him has seen them and started recording them, like doing the voice, like so putting them up, and then they actually do look like and sound as if they're in the game. Yeah. And they're very funny, and he's not doing anything. You know, he's obviously not taking ones that are like, oh, I want you to fuck a goat or whatever. Like,
sure.
He's doing, they're all like, you know, G-rated and whatever. But just looking at them, again, it's like, this seems like the sort of thing that you could pretty easily get in trouble, given that Nintendo had a history of like not even letting people stream their games on YouTube or whatever. Yep. This seems like the kind of thing that they would like not be into, like that they would come down on.
Completely. It's surprising that they haven't yet. Yeah. I'm sure they will.
But good on him. Like, pretty cool that he's just like loving it, and his character becoming a meme in the game is like pretty sick.
That's the greatest thing you can hope for in this 21st century, is to become a meme. Why not lead into it?
Did you see around? We didn't talk about it last week, but around right around the time that the game came out, the guy who is the voice of the main character that you play as, he copped to. I didn't properly read it, but like some degree of ongoing emotional abuse in relationships that he's been in, that he's been accused of. Yeah. Oh, and this all happens like the day before the game comes out or whatever. So then it's like the game launches and then they have to very quickly go, fuck. All right, there'll be a patch coming in a couple of days. Yep. Thankfully, he says maybe about a dozen things in the game.
Yeah, that's true.
So wouldn't have been too big of a job, but like, not great for them. Not great timing.
So is that patch already out? Like, is the version of him that I'd have heard the new person?
Probably, yeah. If you've updated it since getting on, I think it was like a couple of days after it came out.
I don't think I would have played it before the update then.
Yeah, probably not.
That's cool, because I have been playing it, It's
Yep.
fucking so good.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm 30-something hours deep.
Jesus.
I know. It's fucked.
It's
really
genuinely
fucked.
it's sort of wrecking this working holiday
I'll bet.
Yeah.
because it's destroying the work part of it. It's having a negative impact on that.
Sure.
And it's having an extremely negative impact on the holiday part of it. Do you know how like Arthur's Seat was beautiful, but I don't know. It's all a bit real life for me up there.
yeah.
I bet you were looking out and thinking about how you could like tactically maneuver your units into some trees that are nearby and get the
Yeah.
archers all lined up.
You were thinking about two of your mates brushing a unicorn.
I was worried Bernadetta was going to be locked outside her house and she wouldn't be able to get back in, so she'd feel a little stuck outside.
It's
She's a
so
weird
good.
one.
It's so good, right? Are you finding, Nox, you're more into the Persona 5-ish stuff of like the team management and side quests, or are you hell into the battles, or are you just loving all of it?
I think I'm both equally. The battles at this point that I'm at still are maybe a bit easy.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I'm just across the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am I think I'm losing so many hours to it because it's like you sit down to do a month
Yep.
of the calendar in the game, and just that loop of okay, on the free days I'll alternate. I'll have a day walking around the monastery, and then the next week I'll have a day where I go into battle.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's like you do that loop a couple of times. You just do that over 1 month, and then it's been 3.5 hours.
Yes.
It's like I'll go around the monastery, build up some stats, get some support stuff going, kind of kit everyone out, buy some new stuff, and then you go, okay, I'd better leave it here. And it's like, oh, but I want to test all this out in battle now.
And then you just end up at the next mission,
Yep.
and then that, like you said, Nox, they're not particularly hard early days, so you're just getting through them,
Yep.
and that loop starts again, and it's just as addictive as it was before.
Yeah.
I do sort of wish that I had done it on the what's it called? The classic mode.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I think
'Cause-
that's what you're saying. That definitely does what we're doing, the way we're playing it in casual, definitely does make it easier.
It does, and I'm trying to treat it as though it was in the classic mode, I guess. But mainly I wish I could have played it in classic because then I would have been able to murder Caspar immediately. He'd be out and it'd be smooth sailing for the rest of the game. But it does take a little something away from the battles. But then you've got that time rewind thing anyway, so you pretty much don't have to lose anyone. And I would be pissed off about wondering what would have happened with that character if they'd have died, but then that's kind of cool, so I don't know. I think I might play this game again one day. It seems like one
Me
of
too.
those.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people in our Facebook group saying they finished it and then got immediately back in on a replay.
Insanity. I mean, but I understand it though. It is so. It's nice. It's a nice game. Like
Yep.
that's a dumb sort of pat phrase, but like it is a nice feeling game. The atmosphere is fun and relaxing. Outside of the battles are fun and tactical, but more in a way that it's like chess rather than something where you're viscerally worried about people dying.
Yep.
It's more the tactical thing. But yeah, I mean, I've probably played like 5 or 6 hours of it. I
Right.
think I mentioned the other day where I was up to story wise. I just passed a specific sort of point. But it's so good. I wish I had more time to play it.
Yeah, I think when I do another playthrough, like just the combination of being able to play as a different house and see the story from a different perspective.
Which there actually are different perspectives. I sort of had a bit of a look into some of the material around the game. And I think last week we were sort of more like, oh, it's the exact same story. You just happen to be in a different house. You just have different classmates. But I think there is an actual branching path to an extent, or at least a different perspective.
Well, that and the combination of being able to play it in Classic, which honestly does... I was thinking about it going, it would be a different game. Like it would be a completely different experience to be able to play it with those two conditions changed.
Right.
I mean, there just is so much in there. Like all the support conversations and like the amount of... I said this last week, but the amount of content that is stuffed in there. And also, apologies if you're just completely not interested in it, that we're now talking about it for the second week running.
Yeah.
But also, a number of people I've seen on social media that follow this show have, and this happens every now and then. It happened with, I guess, maybe Red Dead, but I think a lot of people were just going to get that anyway. Maybe Breath of the Wild and the Switch, where we talk about something a lot in this like glowing praise. That I've seen this a lot during the week of people posting, fine, I'll get this fucking game then.
Yes.
People seem legitimately angry at us when they are driven to the point of having to follow up on a recommendation. It's like, all right, you guys are going to go on about it. I guess I've got to play this fucking game. This is a good thing.
It's just a mask for enjoying something that looks like anime. That's all that is happening is when someone goes like, Attack on Titan's actually pretty good. You go, fuck you, I hate that shit, but I'll watch it if you want me to.
Yeah, but I have a workmate who talks about Attack on Titan a lot, and every time he does, I beat him up to hide how interested I am in it.
But yeah, it's fucking so fun.
It's a very good game. I would rate it highly.
Yeah,
you would.
If I was forced to. All right, I'll fucking rate the game. Okay, it's 5 out of 5.
How far into you, Adam? Because I totally, everything that you're saying. This is the first year in, I think, 2 or 3 years where I haven't been overseas myself in August. So I've actually been properly kind of paying attention to people's posts about Edinburgh because I'm not sort of on my own trip going, oh, this is really fun. It's kind of the first year where I've gone, I kind of would like to go. I sort of wish I was over there.
Yeah.
But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, I don't know. I think I'm having a much better time here just burning the midnight oil on Fire Emblem every night.
Yeah. I wish I was there because I would be on holiday and I'd have my days free to play Fire Emblem.
Right. But I totally, even just the stress of when you are playing it, then feeling guilty that you should be like working on material and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really, really annoying. And I wish that I could somehow hit a pause button on the rest of my life and just play this game because I'm up to, I don't know, I'm probably at the end of the 4th month-ish, something like that. Okay. Like not super far in, but just really fucking...
Still in chapter 1 then, probably?
Yeah, definitely still chapter 1.
Right.
Oh, what chapter am I in?
I think I'm towards the end of chapter 1, maybe.
Oh, you mean part 1?
Blue Moon.
White Winds or what? I'm not sure what I mean.
White Cloud?
Yes.
Grey
Yeah, I'm still at the first part. Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I wish more games did the thing where when you save it or just wherever in the game, like a counter for how many hours you've
totally.
put in.
I wish every game had it.
Yeah, it's clamp down. Let's make it mandatory.
Yes. Let's get a petition going.
Yep. What else? There was a bit of other... Oh, yeah, we just mentioned it briefly before. So this is a wild story. There's a games expo in China during the week where a company got up and showed off a new game that they have been working on. And a lot of people there watching this went, oh, this is... identical to Breath of the Wild in almost every way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's been footage of this game out before.
Yes,
this wasn't the first time people were seeing it, so they already knew and had made their minds up. And like, they're not wrong. It looks a lot like Breath of the Wild.
It's called Genshin Impact. Game.
The layout of the menu screens and stuff, the visual style, the palette and everything looks. It's bang on. It's near identical. And so people have been protesting this by, turning up at the booth when they're showing it off and holding up their copies of Breath of the Wild.
And flipping the bird.
One guy smashed his PlayStation 4 in front of the booth in protest.
That'll show them.
Which is...
That's pretty crazy.
Incredible.
That is an insane response.
I hate this meal, so I'm going to smash my oven.
Yeah. It's such a classic gamer thing, and I hate to say like to tar us all with the same brush, but like these fucking overreactions to stuff.
I know.
It makes me embarrassed to be a part of this community.
Something about this story, though, I don't know. I don't really have that response to it. I just find it funny.
I mean,
it is funny.
So absurd that it's funny. It's not like, I mean, maybe this is happening a bit like getting on and doxing the people that made it.
I'm sure it's happening as well.
It probably is happening, but I don't know. I'm choosing to just not bone up on that side of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty good. It's coming out on PS4.
Yeah, it's Breath of the Wild. Of course it looks good.
I think I'm going to love it. I think it might be my game of the year.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, someone was talking about this in our group about, and we've talked about this before, that there is no originality in gaming.
Yeah.
But something about this seems more egregious when it's, when it's a very distinct visual style of something that didn't come out that long ago. Because, I mean, yeah, you've got like Fortnite rips off PUBG, which is just kind of, that's a popular format. So
sure, that's conceptually rather than...
Fortnite rips off everything directly. They lifted, like, the PUBG thing was pretty much invented and popularized by PUBG, and they just took it.
Yeah, but what I'm essentially getting at is, like, a format becomes big, so of course another company goes, okay, well, we want to do this format because this is what's popular. That to me seems very different and in a way a bit more organic than just going, hey, here's a style, we'll just take this.
I think it's more common, and so we're like more accepting of it. But I don't know, like if you really knuckle down at it all, there's a lot of straight up plagiarism in this industry.
Well, but the flip side of that too is like a lot of, I guess, indie games and a lot of games that come out now are these riffs on games that were popular in the 80s or 90s, kind of tapping into the nostalgia thing. Often, like literally the exact same graphic style as a homage. And you see that and people are fine with that because it's, this is great. It's like an updated version of this game that this plays how I remember it playing rather than having to go back to the original version that has its faults. I think with this, it's just the proximity to Breath of the Wild still not having really been out for that long.
Yeah, I think that if Fortnite also looked exactly the same as PUBG, this outrage would have happened. I also think maybe we're biased towards an aesthetic ripoff because we're like more into art or visuals. If we were coders who were creating a game format that got ripped off, I think we'd be as pissed off.
I think the big thing is most people don't give a huge shit actually about plagiarism in entertainment stuff.
No, I completely agree. People want, like, if the next one that's the ripoff is also in some way more accessible or cheaper, the consumer will prefer that. Yeah.
Well, and like, I don't know, if people actually got pissed off about plagiarism in stand-up, there'd be a whole lot more compilations on YouTube than there are right now. But people aren't pissed off about plagiarism. They're pissed off about Amy Schumer doing it. So they'll make a compilation of Amy Schumer, in quotes, stealing jokes. You know what I mean? Like, when people get pissed off about this sort of thing, it seems to be feeding into something else or used as like an argument for something else. Maybe that's like a false comparison for this, but...
Yeah, it is funny though, like this company doing this it's a big wild move from them. I mean, at least something like Fortnite, at least they go, we'll slap a different coat of paint on it.
Sure.
At least they're half trying to look a little bit different, but this just going like, we will just use the exact same visual style is you got to hand it to them.
It's like those, like, I think they're called Asylum, the production company that makes like Transmorphers. Like all those fake Hollywood rip-off films. I think this is like that, which I think is why it's more funny as a story than annoying or enraging. It's like, this is probably going to be a worse game as well. It'll just look similar.
Yeah, right.
It's so ridiculous that, I kind of love it.
And for people to pick this one fake knockoff thing in China to be rebelling against, it's just like, of all the things that are like crappily manufactured as rip-offs of other things over there.
I wonder if this is like a bigger company or something, because if you just go into any like mobile app store, the number of large theft automobiles you will see available for download.
I mean, we were obsessed with a game called Lep for a while, which was just a leprechaun version of Mario.
Yeah.
It was great, and they just couldn't come up with a character. So like, I don't know, leprechaun. What would his name be? Leprechaun? Nah, too long. Lep.
Lep.
Oh man, get onto it, folks. I think there's
Yeah.
6. That's the other thing. There's like 6 different installments.
Yes.
This little cunt, he's been around the world. Lep's Adventure. Look it up. The unofficial mobile app of Filthy Casual.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that story. I tell you what, it really tickled me this week.
I think
we
it's
should
funny
also-
to bring your Switch and hold it up as though they don't know,
yeah, right.
or as though they're like
Yes.
surprised to find out that someone's going to draw a link between the two. A link.
That would be a brilliant way to play it. Just going, oh my god, I thought this looked familiar.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck. Like when
I think this Nintendo company's ripped us off.
it's just
I know,
parallel
look,
thought.
hey-
Just parallel thought.
Yeah.
I was riffing about a video game and I'd seen Breath of the Wild earlier that day.
I hear you guys. I get it. Look, I understand, and I see that we have taken the idea of moving the camera with the right stick. I get that now, and I get that's what you're complaining about exclusively. We'll change that. Make it smaller.
I don't know. I mean, that was on the Nintendo and this is on the PlayStation. So they're completely different games.
actually completely
There's no
different.
similarities whatsoever.
I'll accept that.
We should quickly say too, by the time when people are hearing this, there will have been overnight Melbourne time. There's going to be a new presentation about the new Pokemon game.
Yes.
With some new info in it. We're doing this before that, so that's why we've not touched on it. But who knows? There's every chance that it's probably completely disinteresting and
yes,
unedifying.
unedifying.
So the outcome of this episode would have been exactly the same even if we had watched it.
Yep. I also
There will
saw.
be
There'll
be like
ahead, Adam.
3 to 6 new weird Pokemon, and they won't say that they're bringing back all of the old ones who
yes.
originally weren't going to be in it.
Yeah. And there'll be something about the inventory system. I reckon they'll go deep on the inventory system. Something boring like that.
Yeah.
There's also going to be another Death Stranding, possibly gameplay or another trailer later this month.
Oh, right.
That got teased today. So yeah, I've seen people asking for more legitimate gameplay, less walking around hills and stuff.
Pulling out a ladder.
Yeah, less going to Arthur's seat and slipping over.
I don't know. Pretty good game. If I could have done
Okay.
that in a game rather than real life.
That is what it looks like. So yeah, maybe this will be your favorite game of all time.
I think it could be. Nah, probably not.
I still really don't know which way that one's going to go.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. Very excited to either love or I think hate it. I think it's got to be one or the other for me. I don't think that I'm going to be just oh, that was a fine game.
I saw a
Yeah.
story that Kojima and crew over there are currently working pretty heavy crunch hours to get it done, and part of the thing of him leaving Konami being about that means, well, is it worth it? Let me work it. Put my thing down, flip it, and keep it the same.
Jim Carrey has weighed in
Yes,
on
I actually love this.
favorite running controversy of the
Yes.
show.
Yeah,
Which when was the Sonic the Hedgehog movie meant to come out? It was October or something.
November, I think, early November
Yeah.
maybe, or
So
late
we-
October. Yeah,
So the
sounds
marketing machine would have been really ramping up by now.
yeah.
But he got asked about it at an event, I think for some TV.
For Kidding.
For Kidding, yeah. And his comment basically was he doesn't like the idea that the design
consumer-
by committee sort of thing, the consumer getting to weigh in.
Yeah, which I completely agree with. I don't know if we covered this at all when sort of the announcement came out that they were going to quote unquote fix it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea that the public, the people who consume the art rather than the artists are dictating the aesthetic, the style,
Yeah.
the way something is made isn't good. But I guess it was always going to be an art by committee thing. It's a fucking Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that in 95% of circumstances, but if a builder is building a building, right?
Yes.
And then you can visibly see that he has trapped someone inside of the walls of that building while he's building it. I think it's fair enough for you to go, hey, maybe change up what you're doing there because you've got someone inside of the bricks and you're going to brick them up and kill them.
How did that person, if that person managed to get trapped during the process of the very, very slow process of someone building a building around them,
Yes.
I would argue that they had it coming.
He's building it in a hospital. He's building a new wing of a hospital. They're in a coma.
Well, then they're just having they need the hospital that is being built around them.
But they don't want to be
need that wing.
inside the walls of the hospital. You're not getting any care in there.
Oh, he's inside the wall. Well, where
Yeah.
are the staff? What are the staff of the hospital doing about this?
How thick's the wall?
Hey, it's
There's a
pretty
fucking
thick.
person in there.
You got to put wiring and insulation through it. It's a hospital. You
I
need
think-
people to be warm and have
I
electricity.
think the first thing you pull him up on is the thickness of the walls.
No. It's standard
Regardless of
thickness.
someone being inside it.
I mean, I'm not that much of a builder. I don't know how long it'll take to make the walls thinner. I just know that they're wrong. And
Hang on,
Okay.
let's get my architect dad on the phone and see what he has to say about this.
Just
to
something
your
about
question,
the walls
Tommy.
doesn't look right. The teeth in the walls was a bit weird.
exactly, yeah, exactly. That's better. If he was using teeth instead of mortar between the bricks,
There we go.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
You'd be
now I'm
like,
on
hey,
board.
that building's
Yeah.
going to fall apart and no one's going to want to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you that I don't think that consumers should have this amount of say. I also think they are extremely mistaken by delaying the release.
Yeah.
Like thinking that this is in any way going to positively affect the box office
Sure.
outcome of this film.
Yep.
That being said, I love that it's happening. What a story. And
Yes.
I am more than any reveal of any big game that's coming up, I am dying to see this redesign.
Yes,
I
yeah.
am absolutely busting for this big reveal.
I completely agree with that. And I guess the caveat
It's just him wearing a hat.
the caveat to my point, and Jim Carrey's point, I have to assume, me and the big man, is that it relies on the artist being competent. So,
Right.
So yeah, if it's just a shit artist, maybe that's fair. But
Exactly
I
my
also-
point with the builder. But then,
Yeah.
I guess who's to say what art is shit or what
And
artist
also-
is shit or not?
even if an artist is incompetent, it doesn't mean that a bystander is any more competent just by looking.
No.
Yeah.
And you could give them feedback, but the second that it turns, nasty like some of the Sonic stuff did,
Also,
I
this
assume.
specific example we're talking
Is
about
good.
is not art.
Wow, that's a big call.
It's cynical, nostalgia, cash grab.
Yeah.
There's no,
Yeah.
there's no one guy there like, this is my passion project and this is the story that my soul has been burning to tell, and
Yeah.
I have these things that I want to say about the human condition. This is like a room of people going, this makes a bit more money.
This will make some cash.
Yeah.
Speaking of the consumer having a negative impact by weighing into a work of art or property of some kind, we've got some questions here from the listeners. There's a few. We've actually done way more time this episode than I thought we would, but there's a fun question here from Ern that I thought would be interesting to answer. Ern says, you have one day as CEO of one of the giant publishers / developers / console manufacturers. Anything you do in that day will remain in effect after your short time in the role comes to an end. What company are you CEO of, and what do you do?
Ooh. Fuck, that's a good one.
Isn't that a perler?
Okay. Can I embezzle?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Oh, well then EA, embezzle it, shut it down, and then everyone doesn't prosecute me because they're like, he got the evil EA.
I don't think that you don't get prosecuted based on like morality. If
I
you
just
break
need-
a law, I think you still
I
go to
just
jail.
I need one of them gamer judges.
Oh yeah.
He's got like a little Donkey Kong hammer that every time he goes to hammer the thing at the start of a court, it takes fucking forever. Once he grabs it, he can't stop. No, let's say that you can't get any money. Like you can't do it as like you just have to make a change that's actually the business. The business has to stay there. You
Well-
can't shut it down, right?
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
the CEO. I'm going to be
Yeah.
putting in long hours.
Yes.
I'm going to be away from my wife
you're
and
not.
child. I'd want that to be
Wait,
worth
wait.
something. I'd want some kind of financial compensation.
Your fantasy involves a wife and child as well.
Yeah, that I'm neglecting.
Yeah.
And
Good to be out of
you're
the
only
house because the
putting in-
misso's giving it all these.
You're only putting in 24 hours here, so you're not exactly getting a bonus package for that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to
Honestly,
pick
my first thought was to work at EA and to like announce all microtransactions are done, because I think that would be good. But am I saying that because I think it would be like something that people would like me for?
Yeah.
Or because it would really benefit my life?
I think it
Well-
would benefit the world. Like if you moved
Yeah.
into a company like EA and said, "Hey guys, we're going to comply with gambling laws."
Yeah, yes, sure.
That's
But
not
if you
a
did that,
bad
then
move.
wouldn't... What if... So you cancel it within EA, but then some other company comes along and goes,
Yeah.
now the field is wide open.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll become the CEO of EA and I will announce world peace.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over the company MiHoYo, developers of Genshin Impact, and I'm gonna replace the main character with Link. That's my only change.
That kind of feeds into my
Okay.
one. I'm going to become the CEO of Nintendo. What about this one, boys?
Mm-hmm.
Sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Oh.
I'm putting that into production.
It's already in production.
Okay, what about this? A console that you can take on the go.
Now, Tommy, there's at least two of those.
Okay. What do you think about this? Wario smashes me up the shitter.
That I like.
I'm gonna come.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't like the immediate thing that I thought of was like financial or infrastructure based. You know, like things that would benefit the industry as a whole, not
yeah.
artistic things. But
I've
it's
got
like,
it.
Yeah. Why don't I just become like the CEO of BioWare and make a good Mass Effect game?
Well, yeah, but also a lot of my impulses are like, I'll like go to Nintendo and get this game, off the ground that I personally would, the kind of thing that I would like to play.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm
that
going
might already
to-
be in development. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to Konami,
Yes.
and I am selling off all of their IPs. So people
Okay.
can make Castlevania games, people can make Metal Gear
Sure.
Solid games again. Konami
Yep.
doesn't have use of them anymore. They're gone.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Silent Hill. Sell it
Yep.
to Kojima Productions or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Konami, I'm going there and not even selling them off, just freeing their fucking properties.
Wow.
I reckon, Ben,
Yes.
a good one for you
Yes.
would be you go into... I forget what the company is, but they made No Man's Sky.
Hello Games.
Yeah, Hello
Yes.
Games, and you get yourself put in that game.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah. So I've got 24
Ben
hours.
DLC.
No, it's going to be more than that. I'm going to go there and I'm going to say, as CEO,
Yeah.
you need to design me a VR pod that feeds me,
Right.
relieves my system of all waste. Maybe it has like a muscle thing toner in it, so I get exercise, so my body doesn't atrophy, and a perfect high definition VR headset.
Yep.
So that I can play No Man's Sky every day for the rest of my life.
And you're in it forever.
Forever. I'm
That's
never
pretty
coming
good.
out.
I would have thought your answer would have been just like you go to Hello Games and it's like Bart visiting the offices of Mad Magazine.
Yes,
Like you don't
yes.
even want to really make any. You're just happy to walk around and
Yeah.
get the guided tour.
I just want to like poke my head through the doorway and see Sean Murray.
I like that your answer is like, I want you guys to make something that will benefit nobody but me. And after this, everyone else in my life will probably assume that I killed myself because I'm going to disappear.
No, I'll make a big. It'll be like. I'll make a big press conference and stuff. Like I'm going into No Man's Sky.
And then first question at the press conference. Is this going to be available for anybody else in the world ever?
Yeah, if they want to pay for it, sure, we can put it into
Yeah,
production.
he's the guinea pig. If it works out on him,
it's a
then they
prototype.
can just replicate
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're like the scientist who walks into the thing and it goes wrong and they end up with superpowers.
Yes.
Your superpower is just you're inside the internet.
That's pretty good. I mean,
The
I
ultimate
saw the
thing
start
in
of
this day and
Lawnmower
age.
Man. I didn't see the end. I'm assuming that was a superhero movie.
You would become a meme.
Oh,
the dream.
the dream.
The other one that you could do
Yes.
is go to Valve and tell them to make sequels to their games.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I
That'd be
think
good.
without sort of having the time to really think about it too much right now, like that, I think that's the bet. Is like what's a company or like a property that has
Yeah.
been dormant for so long that it would be so good to see resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you have to do to get a new one of them up off the
Yeah.
ground, and then it comes out and it tanks. You've had
yeah.
involvement and you're too close to it. Like Homer designing a car. It's just a piece of shit.
His car was so good, though.
Yeah. On paper, it had everything you'd want.
Yeah. Have we got more time? A little bit more time. A few of the people in the group asked us to sort of check in halfway through the year what games we've loved, what games we've been disappointed by, general thoughts on the industry halfway through the year, or a bit more than halfway through.
Yeah, I've said this a bit recently. Like, I haven't really been until the last maybe month and a half. Nothing had really grabbed me, and then Crash Team Racing, Mario Maker 2, and Fire Emblem back to back.
Yeah.
Has been it's been a good month and a bit, and there's a lot of good shit coming up. But so far, before that point, at the start of the year, pretty underwhelming for me.
I tend to agree. There's been some games that I've loved recently. Mario Maker 2, definitely. Fire Emblem. Judgment, I really enjoyed. And Outer Wilds. But, like, I think even some of those, like, I really like Outer Wilds and Judgment as well. But in previous years, I don't know if they would have cracked the top 5.
Right.
Like, it's still underwhelming.
Outer Wilds is my favorite game of the year so far. Like, I think that thing would have been in the top 5 plenty of other years for me.
Right.
Resident Evil 2 is pretty good.
Yep.
But that's a remake of a 20-year-old game. You know, like, it's not that exciting. There are a lot of disappointing things like fucking Anthem and Crackdown, and that Far Cry thing didn't look very interesting.
Oh, it's fine. It was more like DLC though. It was a good DLC for Far Cry 5.
Devil May Cry 5 was okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Again, these
Sekiro-
are Sekiro. I keep forgetting about that. It was. I mean, you've played more of those kind of games than me, Knox, but it was too difficult for me to commit to for longer than a month or so. Like, it just
Right.
it wasn't fun enough to persist with the challenge.
I did wonder that about it because you guys raved about it at the time, and I was thinking about this the other day that you kind of did drop off at a certain point.
But I think, like, if we didn't have a podcast about video games, I wouldn't be thinking, like, oh, I only played that game for a month. I'd be thinking, like, I loved that game for a month.
Yeah,
and I'll
right.
probably play it again soon, and I'll probably finish it in a year, or, you know, like, my life timelines were so different before this podcast.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I kind of have a hard time, like, really feeling like I've completely invested in a game if I don't finish it. Like, even if I get close and then don't, I mean, that almost feels worse. Like, I kind of go,
Right.
I don't really deserve to be in a conversation about this because, I mean, I've put 30 hours into Fire Emblem, but I haven't done the time jump yet.
Yeah.
I certainly haven't finished it yet. And if it got to the end of the year and I didn't play any more of it, even though I've put so much in, I would still feel like, I really only scratched the surface. I didn't really properly play this.
That is an interesting thing to think about because, like, you don't discuss a film without having seen the whole film. You don't
Totally.
And even with something like a book, which takes a similar amount of time to
Yep.
read as a game, you know, depending on the length of the book. But like, I've read a few books this year, and if I'd gotten to the last chapter and hadn't finished it, I wouldn't be sitting around talking about it with my friends, going, "This is what this book is like."
Yeah, and it annoys me because I think about stuff that I enjoyed and I'm like, I should go back to that, knowing that I probably never will. But it's frustrating because they sit there and they just kind of claw at your head, or you see it on the little, you know, the menu screen or whatever, or the box under the TV. It's like, fuck, I really enjoyed that. Like, why didn't I finish that? And, and the answer is probably that you weren't enjoying it as much as you thought you were. But I mean, I guess we're in the position when new stuff comes along that we kind of have to engage with for the purposes of the show.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the difference is between the definition of a review. I agree that you can't give an actual review of something unless you've seen all of it, but I think what we do mostly here is give our impressions, which is like a valid thing. Your experience of approaching this product and piece of work is a form of review, but an actual analytical review is you've got to have seen everything.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think
I'm going to give a top 3 from the first half of the year. I've figured
right.
one out. Outer Wilds is number 1, Mortal Kombat's number 2, and then Resident Evil 2 is number 3.
Ooh.
All right.
And there are at least 5 games coming out in the rest of the year that could usurp all of them.
Okay, wow. All right. Bump them all
That's
down.
the thing. We're saying all this, but there's still a lot of good. There's some really, really good shit to come. Well, for me personally, there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to in the next few months. So it's like, by the time it gets to the end of the year, it will have been a great year.
Yeah.
But it certainly, January to June was pretty dry. Anyway.
Yeah, I think Fire Emblem's got to be my favorite. I think Super Mario Maker 2. I think maybe Sekiro and Outer Wilds. And then fitness boxing. I genuinely do love fitness boxing.
Yeah, right.
But then, there's a few other ones in there as well that I've enjoyed, about on the same level as like 3 of those. I think Fire Emblem is the one, like AAA, loved it, would be in my top 5 any other year.
But to be a stickler, that's technically not first half of the year because that came out at the end of June.
That's true. All right.
Oh, sorry, end of July.
Yeah, discount that. Mario Maker 2 is my favorite.
Oh, no, that scraped in, didn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it did, end of June. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. I'd say that in Crash Team Racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't even know. I don't know what else.
I know I want to play
well.
more of Judgment.
Yeah.
Probably more of
Yeah.
Bloodstained.
I like Devil May Cry as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that would hover around the like 7 or 8 out of 10 or 7 or 8 out of a top 10 mark that I feel like are bunched around 5 for me this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. But then Death Stranding may be the greatest game of all time.
Who knows? Yeah.
Find out the answer in our Game of the Year episode next week.
Oh, great.
We're just going to guess. We're going to guess.
Yep.
Well, I reckon we should wrap it up for another week. Fellas, thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks to everyone who contributed to that thread about questions and stuff.
Yeah, we'll probably jump in the thread and answer a few that we didn't answer in here because there are 60 comments in that thread.
Great.
But a lot of just fun discussion as well and some stuff for next week.
Great.
Which is good and handy.
Let me quickly...
Oh, that's also a plug for the Patreon. If that is our Patreon group.
Yes.
If you donate $5 a month, you get into that group. If you donate $10 a month, you get 4 free bonus episodes every month, 1 a week.
Yep.
It's an extra podcast
Sometimes
called
5,
Nintendo 69. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Long
Some
month.
months are longer. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February clear, which has 28 days, but 29 every 4 years, which in this in the common parlance is known as a leap year.
Yes.
And also there's a secret month at the end of the year.
It changes every year, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the episodes we release during that are wild. Some extreme shit.
Good morning, video games.
I just want to quickly plug something again I mentioned last week. I'm running in the City to Surf in Sydney this weekend. I'm raising money for the Kids Cancer Institute. I feel a bit weird about getting on anything and sort of saying like, oh, chip in money to this. But then I found out last night that I am currently the second overall fundraiser for the Children's Cancer Institute. And if I come first, I win a trip to Queensland. So
excellent.
So if you didn't want to do it for the sick children,
Yes.
do it for me going on a holiday.
Do it for the sick adult.
If you have any money to spare and you want to chip in, it's obviously a great cause.
Yes.
We've got the links on our social medias. You can find it pretty easily. That would be very much appreciated.
Yeah. I've chipped in, so be like your pal Ben. And donate to Thomas.
Filthycasuals.com.au for the links to all the socials and everything. go check out Adam's Show 3's comedy if you're in Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to say, if you are coming down to that, please come early or message me on Twitter or something and let me know that you're coming down, because we've been filling up pretty early and we're having to turn people away. And I would hate to turn someone away who like listens to this and shit to let like some old fucker who's just wandering around in. So
What if you had to choose between a listener of this and a listener of Ooh Spooky, your other
they're
podcast?
both getting in. They'd be
both
the kind
getting
of people. They'd make it work. I just don't.
You'd kick some random out.
Well, that's the idea. We can't kick someone out once they're in the room, but I can reserve you a spot if you let me know that you're coming on the day. If you are actually coming, so yeah, please come early or let me know, because I'd say some old fuck jokingly, but I don't want like a random person in rather than someone who's actually there to see it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let us know or get there at least 15-ish minutes early, maybe a bit more, because we've been filling up, which is cool. But
yeah.
And what time are you on it? You're on at like 11 a.m. or something?
11:35 a.m. for Three's Comedy at the City Cafe. And then there's Luca Muller's got a solo show at 4:45, and then a gong show at 11 o'clock, which I'm helping out with. That's a Counting House. And then we've got Late Show, Great Show, which is late night stand-up at the Counting House as well at midnight.
Yeah, nice. Go see Adam if you're in or around Edinburgh. Guys, thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next time, as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals.
Plagiarism's fine. Just do it.
Plagiarism's fine. Just do it.